We just got our hands on this newly released Phoenix II color film made by Harman. Is it something that you should consider shooting with? It's Tuomas from Kamerastore. Welcome to another video, and in this video we're gonna take a closer look of Harman Phoenix II color negative film. Harman Photo just released this film like a week or so ago, and now we got a chance to come outside here in Tampere, our city where we are based at, and go out and shoot, roll, and then later on we're gonna take a closer look of these photos. What I have here is the Phoenix II in 35mm and in a 120 medium format film. So let's load the cameras up. As a cameras, I have Leica M6 with Typoch 50mm f1.4 lens. And for the medium format roll, I have Fuji GSW690 III, quite a mouthful for a camera name. Medium format rangefinder takes 6x9 negatives, which is amazing for me. I'm such a lazy photographer when it comes to film, so 8 exposures only is the sweet spot for me. This Fuji comes with 65mm f5.6 lens. So that's roughly 28mm in a 35mm format. So kind of like a wide angle, but really nice for me at least. It doesn't come with the light meter, so it's fully mechanical. So for light meter, I'm gonna use this Keck light meter here. I'm gonna meter these in a box speed, so ISO 200. Harman says on their website that to achieve the best results, one should meter it between 100 and 200. From the previous iterations, the Phoenix 1, people have gotten really good results, way lower ISOs than the box speed says. But as we're taking an initial look, might be a good idea just to get a kind of sense of the general look of the film. Harman states in their website or in the press release that this new film stock Harman Phoenix II gives you kind of cooler tones maybe, and compared to the previous one, the first iteration. The examples I've seen in the internet and the marketing material has been somewhat kind of various. So some of the examples have been really kind of warm, and then some of the results have been quite cool. So I'm interested to see how these actually turn out and how's kind of our experience going to be and where the general consensus will land on this film. So maybe something to mention about the gear I'm now using. The Typoch 50mm 1.4 lens is relatively new. I know they're being really heavy with their marketing, and the lens has been already almost a year in the market. But something to mention about the lens is the build quality is really nice, to me at least. And the amount of aperture plate it has, the amount of them is 14, which is quite a lot. And well, the size is okay. It's not like, it's definitely on the bit heavier side, on the bigger side, as it extends quite a bit from the body. Well, what you kind of would expect from f1.4 lens. But the 14 aperture blades should make the bokeh quite round, and it even focuses closer than 70 centimeters, which is the standard kind of rangefinder focusing distance. So this focuses down to 45 centimeters, which is nice addition, especially when used with mirrorless digital cameras, M10, M11, or even when you adapt this to like a Sony camera. Now we're finished with the rolls, and we can head to the office and take a closer look of the images from the computer and how the colors are and whatnot. Welcome back. We are at the office now. We just got the film developed and scanned. We scanned it with Valoy EZ120 with its 6x9 holder and 35 holder. So I ended up shooting 2 rolls of 120 just in case and 1 roll of 35. Photos are now on the computer, so let's go there and take a closer look. By the way, if you rather would love to read about the film and our thoughts and impressions about this, we've also written a blog article about this Phoenix II, so head to our website and you can find it there. Okay, so here we have the photos. In the green, I've highlighted the 35 shots and the blue ones are the 120. Initially looking at the photos here, I've kind of hand-picked few, just I think these are good examples. Definitely cooler tones. I'd say this is much better than the Phoenix I, if I dare to say that. I really like the tones. Almost reminds me a little bit about like a Santacolor film, maybe a bit cooler. And zooming in, taking a closer look of the image, we can clearly see that this is quite grainy film. Actually, quite surprisingly grainy, I'd say. I've heard that people have shot this with, metered it as ISO 100 or ISO 160. Definitely something that I will try myself, just to see if I can get like a cleaner look. Kept some borders, we can crop in a little bit. Scanning these, the results were quite brownish, kind of greenish, so there definitely is like a color cast to it, but luckily with camera scanning you can kind of easily correct it, so it came out like this, and then just kind of cooling it down, kind of the cast goes away and you can actually see some color, so the greens come back and some like blues are there and whatnot. Here's another example. Yeah, this is the raw file, so we can kind of take a look on the Negative Lab Pro, what I've done there. So I've underexposed or lowered the shadows quite a bit. When I raise the shadows, you can see that the negative really falls apart. It might be more like a negative, like a character to that negative itself, generally like a color film itself, rather than this kind of character for specifically this film stock. Okay, this is another good example. This is really dark environment. Shadows are definitely clipped, not much detail in the shadows, and you can see here that it gets quite grainy and green and whatnot. So I would definitely try to keep the shadows hidden, so to say. I have not touched this, so this is how the scans came out most often. But we can see if I cool it down, we can see that the greens come there and the skin tones get bit more better, maybe healthier looking. Based on some examples in the internet and what Harman themselves have put out, the variation is quite drastic, so it's exciting to see where the film develops and where it goes and how people actually prefer it to look. Like this is one look, and then some people might want actually to be much kind of warmer and brown. This is not a bad look, definitely, but it's all subjective. So here's another good example. So there's the kind of halation that I've personally gotten familiar with since still 400D film and 800T. Similar-ish kind of halation, but I'd say it's a bit more controlled maybe. I've taken quite a bit of, pulled like the highlights back quite a bit just to get some skies and whatnot. But yeah, I think this is one of those images again that really benefits from cooling it down rather than warming it up. Take it with a grain of salt, this is just me talking. Let's move on to the 120s just to get them kind of speeding this video up a little bit. So here we can see the medium format look, much cleaner looking, obviously as expected, much cleaner looking, and then here surprisingly the halation, you can see quite a bit of the halation with this man's outfit. So might have definitely blown out the
outfit a little bit, which has caused the halation. I don't know, I'm not sure. There is this halation effect. I prefer it, I like it. It's a vibe, but some people might not. This is where you can see the cooler tones, like what are these stones? You can see that it's quite cool, but if we start to kind of correct it a little bit, then the other tones may kind of suffer a little bit. So I would keep it quite cool. Good colors, really like the blues, greens, and even the kind of orange reds. Really kind of looks, to my eyes at least, looks really familiar to Santa color, which I prefer also, which is a great film stock. Here is another, we can see some halation happening into the leafage, into here. Good colors, definitely the reds are leaning towards orange-ish. So that may, if you prefer your reds to be leaning on kind of the cooler side, definitely then this is not for you. But I'd say that this film stock definitely is one of those that I would rather shoot medium format than 35. The images look cleaner and there's less grain, and there's something to it. It makes me kind of think that this is more medium format film. Also here we can see that it's quite contrasty. We can then, well, I've definitely blown out the shadows, so let's not try to burn the shadows. The shadows are quite clipped here. We can see on here that it's just, there's nothing. So I don't know, respect the shadows, and like don't try to take information that's not there. Here you can definitely see the blue, what kind of colors it does to it. And if we zoom in, are we zooming at 100? Yes. By the way, the camera that we used for scanning was Sony a7R IV, so 60 something megapixels really enables us to zoom in and see all the details here. So as you can see, I'm cleaning up the image as we are going through. One example of kind of the colors we can get, and well, how kind of different orange, green, reds, and blues, how they kind of react. Definitely quite green. The shadow areas are quite green. What we can do in post-processing, actually what I've done already is that I've reduced the yellows a little bit. I'm losing a little bit of yellows from the buildings there and from the greens, but to correct a little bit the green tint in the shadow areas and rocks. This is also good demo of the editability and kind of how easy it is to customize your images a little bit after the conversion and with the camera scanning. We could have like a little side-by-side comparison actually with the 35 and 120. If we sync the zooms, we can clearly see that the grain structure is quite noticeable, or there is quite noticeable difference. Not surprising by any means, but definitely something to be considered if you primarily shoot with 35mm film. So then this is definitely not the kind of the cleanest of the film stocks. Let's put it like that. All the files you saw here in the video, and maybe some extra, I'm gonna put the conversions and TIFF files and RAW files into a Google Drive link. You can find it from the description and you can take a closer look. Actually, if you're new to camera scanning, you can play around with editing the TIFF files and converting the photos and whatnot. There you have it. Those were the images, and maybe something that's noteworthy is the kind of the color of the negatives. It's quite purple. Probably explains the cooler tones a little bit with the conversions, and of course also explains why some scanners, Norwich Frontiers, might struggle a little bit with this film stock. Harman describes this to be one of those kind of experimental films, and honestly I cannot wait where they are heading to. How's the third iteration, if we get one. So if you want to get yours, get some rolls of Phoenix 2, you can buy them from Kamerastore. Also, we have it in stock here, links in the description below or somewhere here. If you have any questions regarding this video or the scans or us, Kamerastore, please comment down below, and we're happy to help you with everything and answer all your questions there. And if you have also any future wishes, what would you like us to do a video about, pop a comment down below and we'll take a look and we'll grant your wishes. That was it. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.